Welcome back to the Deep Dive Learner. When most of us think about a local service business, like a plumber or an electrician, we tend to picture a pretty simple setup.
Oh, yeah, definitely. The classic guy in a truck.
Right. A guy with a truck, a toolbox, maybe a dispatcher sitting at a desk with a headset somewhere. We just sort of assume the magic of the business is entirely in the mechanic's hands.
Yeah, which is completely understandable. But when you actually strip away the branding and look at the real operations of a thriving modern service company, you realize that turning a wrench is, well, it's just the final step.
Exactly. It's just the tip of the iceberg.
Right, it's the final step in this massive unseen chain of events. The real magic is actually in the systems running behind the scenes.
And that brings us to our mission for you today. We are unpacking the hidden anatomy of a top-tier local service business to see how it really works, from the dirt in the ground to the software in the cloud.
It's such a wild ride.
It really is. Our deep dive today is built on two fascinating documents from Hartzell's Heat and Air. They're a 15-year-old employee-owned HVAC company based out in Kingfisher, Oklahoma. We have their public-facing website, which shows how they present themselves, but uniquely, we also have their actual, recently updated internal standard operating procedure. This SOP was written by the owner, Dave Hartzell, and it's dated April 2nd, 2026.
Having access to that internal playbook is just a rare privilege because, this isn't just a discussion about air conditioners, right?
Right.
This is a masterclass in how a business combines deep engineering knowledge with hyper-precise operational software to survive. And the goal here is to show you how the physical realities of the environment dictate business operations.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
Because you really cannot understand this business without first understanding the absolute nightmare that is the Oklahoma climate.
Nightmare is the right word.
Set the stage for us here. Explain what exactly makes central Oklahoma such a battleground for HVAC systems.
Well, central Oklahoma's climate is basically a brutal stress test for mechanical equipment. In the summer, especially July and August, you're routinely hitting 100 to 110 degrees Fahrenheit.
Just brutal heat.
Yeah, but it's not just the heat. It's paired with over 80% relative humidity. So in the HVAC industry, that means a system is forced to fight a two-front war.
Wait, meaning it's battling both the temperature and the moisture at the exact same time?
Exactly. That is the core challenge. The equipment has to handle the sensible load, which is, the straightforward task of lowering the actual air temperature.
Okay, the sensible load is just the heat.
Right. But simultaneously, it has to handle the latent load. And the latent load is the massive amount of humidity the system needs to physically wring out of the indoor air.
And winter isn't any better, right?
Oh, no. Ground temperatures can plummet insanely fast, which basically cuts a standard heat pump's efficiency completely in half. Plus, you get these brutal ice storms that just batter the outdoor equipment.
So taking a standard system designed for a dry climate, like, say, Denver, and dropping it into Kingfisher is a disaster.
A total disaster.
It's like trying to mop up a huge spill with a piece of wax paper.
That's a great way to put it.
Right, like you might cover the area, but the wax paper doesn't actually absorb the moisture. So in an Oklahoma house, if the system just blasts cold air without dealing with the humidity, you end up with a home that is technically 70 degrees, but it feels cold and totally clammy.
Yeah, that wax paper analogy hits on the exact mechanics of the most frequent mistake made out there, and it's a huge trap.
The oversizing trap.
Exactly. Most traditional contractors still size air conditioners using outdated rules of thumb. They might say, you need 1 ton of cooling for every 500 square feet of house.
Which sounds logical to a homeowner.
Right. They think bigger is better, so they install this massive, oversized system.
But bigger actually makes that latent load, the humidity problem, way worse, doesn't it?
It makes it so much worse. See, an air conditioner removes humidity by passing warm air over a freezing cold coil. The moisture condenses and drips down a drain, just like condensation on a cold glass of iced tea on a summer porch.
Sure.
But that physical condensation process takes time. If you install a giant unit, it drops the sensible temperature to 70 degrees in just 10 minutes.
And then the thermostat just shuts the whole system off.
Exactly. It shuts off before it's actually had the time to pull the moisture out of the air. We call that short cycling.
Ah, so you're just sitting in a cold, damp house.
Yeah. And over time, that lingering indoor humidity physically feeds mold growth inside the walls, plus turning a massive mechanical compressor on and off every 10 minutes.
Just destroys the machine, right?
It completely destroys it from the inside out. Premature wear and tear.
But looking at the sources, Hartzell's refuses to operate that way. They mandate this thing called a manual J-load calculation for every replacement.
Yes, the manual J is the engineering fix for this. It's a highly specific mathematical model.
So they aren't just guessing based on square footage.
Not at all. They calculate the actual thermal envelope of the structure. They measure the R value of the insulation, the window orientation to the sun, the ceiling height.
Wait, they actually measure which way the windows face?
Oh, absolutely. Morning sun versus afternoon sun completely changes the heat gain. By doing all this math, they find the exact right size system so it runs long enough to handle both the heat and the humidity.
Wow.
It takes significantly more time, but it's the only way to do proper engineering.
Well, while that manual J calculation is brilliant for handling the air above ground, I noticed something even more radical in the sources. The physical earth of Oklahoma actually offers an even crazier solution.
Oh, the geothermal aspect.
Yeah. It basically moves the battleground from the sky to the dirt.
It really does. Central Oklahoma's geology makes geothermal heating and cooling unusually effective. If you bypass that volatile outdoor air and dig just 6 to 8 feet below the surface...
The ground temperature just completely ignores the weather.
Right. Exactly. Down there, the Earth remains a stable 59 to 62 degrees Fahrenheit year-round.
Wait, so whether it's 110 degrees outside in August, or there's a 14-degree ice storm raging in January, that dirt is just sitting there at a cool 60 degrees.
Yep. It provides this massive, stable thermal mass, so a geothermal heat pump uses a liquid loop buried underground to reject heat into that cool ground in the summer.
Instead of trying to force heat into 100-degree air, which sounds impossible.
Right, and in winter, it extracts heat from that relatively warm 60-degree dirt. Because it uses the earth, these systems operate at 300 to 500% efficiency.
Okay, I have to play devil's advocate and push back here for a second.
Sure.
If this geothermal hack is 500% more efficient and bypasses the terrible climate, why doesn't every single home have a system in their backyard? Is it just digging a hole?
What's fascinating here is that it requires highly specialized engineering to actually work. That acts as a massive barrier to entry.
So you really can't just dig a trench and throw some pipes in?
No, not at all. And this is where Hartzell separates itself. According to our sources, they are one of the few installers in the state with an IGSHPA accreditation.
An IGSHPA accreditation.
International Ground Source Heat Pump Association. It basically means they engineer the loops specifically for the exact soil conditions of the property.
Oh, because different dirt conducts heat differently.
Exactly. If you just bury pipes in clay versus sand without calculating the thermal conductivity, the earth won't absorb the heat properly and the whole system catastrophically fails.
Which explains why it's such a heavy lift. It's a major excavation project. But man, the financials on this are insane.
Oh, the incentives are massive.
Yeah, I saw the 2026 rebates in the sources. Seek Energy offers up to $2,000 per ton, and OG&E offers up to $1,000 per ton.
Right, so for a standard 3-ton install, you're looking at $6,000 to $8,000 in rebates.
That is huge. Plus, Hartzell's is running a spring giveaway right now for a free year of their Geo 360 protection, which is like a $499 value.
Yeah, which covers all the loop pressure checks and maintenance.
But think about this from the customer's perspective. You're asking a homeowner to commit to an $8,000 technical project, tearing up their yard with heavy machinery.
It's a huge commitment.
Right. So how does a local company build that absolute unshakable trust before they even start digging?
They do it by completely demystifying their pricing. They run a strict no surprises pricing model to kill that financial anxiety up front.
I did notice that. They clearly list a $99 dispatch fee and then a separate $111 diagnostic fee. But wait.
Yeah.
Why charge a dispatch fee and a diagnostic fee? Isn't that just stacking fees on a customer who is already having a miserable day?
It looks like fee stacking at first, but the sources explain it's fully transparent. That $111 diagnostic fee is fully credited toward the repair if you approve the work within 14 days.
Oh, okay, so it's essentially a deposit on the fix, not just a penalty.
Exactly. Plus, they state up front that common repairs run $150 to $600. They even list their $229 flat rate spring tune-up.
And they have that specific $99 water heater maintenance plan, which makes so much sense because Oklahoma's hard water just destroys water heater tanks.
Oh yeah, the calcium and magnesium buildup, it just eats the tanks alive.
Right. It's hyper-local knowledge that proves they know exactly what your home is up against.
We also can't ignore the human element here, though. The site heavily features Dave Hartzell with his 45 years of experience and his daughter Shelby, the operations manager.
Yeah, the sources highlight a review from Jennifer R. in Hennessy, Oklahoma. Her AC died on a 104-degree day, and they got out there the same afternoon with upfront pricing.
Now, if we connect this to the bigger picture, pulling off that kind of same-day emergency response perfectly doesn't happen by accident.
Right, it takes serious logistics.
Exactly. It requires meticulous and visible operational control. Which brings us to the internal SOP document.
Yes, the internal playbook. This is an SOP for managing job statuses via the House Call Pro app. It shows exactly how Dave and Shelby manage their technicians.
The workflow is incredibly rigid. Jobs go from scheduled to on my way to started to finished and finally completed or closed.
Here's where it gets really interesting to me. Think about that on my way button. It's like tracking your pizza delivery or a ride share on your phone.
Oh, totally.
Except instead of a pizza, it's a life-saving mechanic coming to your 104-degree house. When the tech taps that button, it texts the customer their name, a photo, and a live map ETA.
The psychological relief of that is massive. It actively prevents those panic, "Where are you?" phone calls. But to make it work, the data discipline has to be absolute.
Yeah, the SOP has strict rules. Techs can only tap on my way when they're actually driving to the house, never hours early.
Right, because if they tap it and sit around doing paperwork, the customer is staring at a GPS pin that isn't moving. That kills trust instantly.
And when they tap started, a timer begins for productivity tracking. When they hit finished, they must capture photos, notes, and signatures before they can even leave.
They cannot bypass it.
No. And techs can't even revert their statuses if they mess up. Only the office admins like Shelby can fix it via the web portal.
It creates a permanent digital paper trail. Even if a customer isn't getting notifications, the SOP has a strict 5-step checklist for the office to check landlines and notification toggles.
It really is a wild contrast. You look at their site, and it's built on a handshake and a man's word, sponsoring soccer teams and pancake breakfasts.
Very traditional community values.
But fundamentally, it's powered by precise GPS tracking and timestamp software.
Which perfectly summarizes why they succeed. They master the macro, engineering for brutal latent heat and geothermal dirt.
And they master the micro.
Exactly. Using strict app-based SOPs to ensure a customer gets a text with a photo the second a van leaves.
So whether you are hiring a contractor or running a business, the lesson is that trust isn't just a smile at the door anymore.
No, it's transparent pricing, precise engineering, and real-time digital communication.
Which leaves you with a final thought to chew on. Their public image is all traditional community values, but internally, they rely on unalterable timestamps and digital signatures.
It's quite the paradox.
It really is. Does the hyper-digitization of every micro-step in the trades replace that traditional handshake trust? Or is that digital transparency actually the new form of a handshake in the modern world?
That is a great question to ask yourself the next time you see a service van drive by and wonder what's on the tablet on their dash.
Absolutely. Keep exploring the deep dives around you, learner. We'll catch you next time.